like to take a moment to welcome you for your presence, to thank you for your presence, being here to celebrate the life, the energy, and the spirit of J. Duffy. No matter where we are or where we go, we are in the presence of God. It's a blessing to realize that I can never lose His presence. All things happening inside God, there is not one thing in life I need to face alone. The presence of God is also in us. It may be easy to feel your divine presence most keenly in times of mindful contemplation or prayerful practice. But we can also feel your presence, Lord, when we consciously live from our divine identity. We are being in the presence of your Spirit each time we show grace to another, with each loving act of kindness and consideration, when we offer forgiveness or share generously of our supply. God is good. I pray that through us, all others may know this truth. Paul Anderson Duffy III, a.k.a. Jay, Adam, Johnny Cougar, of North Little Rock, Arkansas, passed away unexpectedly on Sunday, August the 13th, 2023, at the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences. He was born on October 15th, 1971, in Macon, Georgia. Paul is preceded in death by a son, William Matthew Johnston, and his mother, Linda Carol Walton Newcomb. He is survived by the love of his life of 28 years, Alicia Sewell Duffy, daughter Lauren Alice Johnston, father Paul Andy Anderson Duffy Jr., grandchildren Aiden Johnston, Arabella, and Matthew, aunts Janet, Walton, and Melanie Taylor, and many cousins and countless friends. Paul was a master woodworker, loved working with his hands. He was a gifted artist that left an indelible mark on our world through his breathtaking artwork. With every project, he breathed life into his creation, leaving spectators in awe of the beauty he captured. He spent several years using his talents as a soft Falcon jet and custom aircraft cabinets. He could build or fix anything. He loved writing poetry and stories. Music was a great love of Paul, as he could play the trumpet, guitar, and could sing. His personality was one of a kind, and he was always putting other people first. He was a person of remarkable intellect, known for his quiet demeanor. While he may not have been precocious, his words held immeasurable wisdom, particularly when they delved into the mysteries of the world and the mysteries of the universe. His astute observation illuminated profound truths, leaving others in awe of his intellectual powers. In his pursuit of self-expression, he found solace and freedom atop his beloved motorcycle. The open road offered him a sanctuary where he could feel the wind in his hair, the rumble of the engine beneath him, and a sense of unbridled liberation. His passion for writing reminded us all to to embrace life's adventure and find joy in the simplest of moments. He was a member of the motorcycle club Iron Order. Yet above all, J. Paul will be remembered for his kind and caring nature. His heart overflowed with love and compassion for his fellow human beings. He selfishly gave his time, talent, and resources to those in need. In reaching the lives of countless individuals along the way, he was the person who loved on the broken, ministered to the hurting, and advocated for the outcast and those that most people would look past. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. John 15:13. His family finds solace in that his last thoughts were of the passenger on that. Always putting others first, his last moments were selflessly given to others in need. As J. Paul will remain a hero in many lives as an organ donor. As we say our final goodbyes, let us remember him not with sadness, but with gratitude for the privilege of having shared a small part of his extraordinary journey. May his memory live on in the art he created, the music he played, the kindness he showed to others, and the love he shared. I don't think you could probably really say it better than what's written and what I just read. And I've no doubt that Spirit was moving when these words were put on paper. And I look into the room and I know that the Spirit is moving here now. Jay knew that life required participation. Jay knew that we didn't grow by osmosis. Jay knew that we had to embrace and engage. And Jay knew that when it came down to it, it was all relational. Visiting with Alicia for a little, and looking through the slideshow, it's amazing. 1,000 words in a picture. This guy liked to have fun. He liked to ride rides. He liked to go to Disney World. I just think that's awesome. Kids may have outgrown Disney. Jay did. Jay loved to do those things that he knew he could have fun doing. He was a musician. I understand he was first chair trumpet in school. That's something I never knew. I knew he strummed at home, but I would never guessed that he had trumpet in his band. He wrote, he sung. So music was very much an umbrella that was a big part of his life. He also, as a woodworker, was a master craftsman. In my profession, I've had some interaction with the saw and custom aircraft. So I've seen the kind of work that Jay and I know the kind of work that was demanded from those companies. And it wouldn't get by. And Jay did just that, and I look at what he did here on the frames that hold the home group banners. And beyond that, what is so neat, I mean, one, well, we need to hang the banners, we need a frame. So I guarantee you, 99.9% of the people in this room when this conversation was going on, you know what a frame is, like you go to Hobby Lobby or somewhere. You're gonna get these 4 pieces, you know, it's like, get it done, right? Get it done. He said, it'll look nice. Jay said, let me do it. And look what he did. And he didn't just do it for his home group, right? He did it for every banner that's here on the wall. That's the kind of man Jay Duffy is. Alicia shared with me that it was not uncommon at times to come home and be asking Jay, who is this sitting in our living room? Because Jay reached out to help others. He understood the importance of service, of sharing. And in all of that, he understood the importance of awakening to our true self. I believe that God gives us a soul. It's our deepest identity. It's our truest self. It's unique blueprint. It's our own conception. None of us are alike. Our unique little bit of life is installed within the product by the manufacturer. We're given a span of years to discover it, to choose it, and to live our destiny. And if we do not, our true self will never be found. Our soul's discovery is utterly crucial, momentous, and of pressing importance to each of us and for the world. We don't make or create our identity. We grow into our identity. And we are asked to become good stewards of that identity. And many times we are clumsy at things. We are charged to awaken. And in that awakening, what we find is we have to unlearn a lot of what we think we know. I know it took coming into these rooms for me to realize I don't know and I need to. That I'm called to help others. All we can give back and all God wants from us is to humbly and proudly return the product that He has given us. And if I look at what the ancient saints and the mystics wrote, this finished product is more valuable to God than it seemingly is to us. Whatever the mystery is, we are definitely in on the deal. And Jay was in on the deal. I want to share something he wrote. And You know, I don't care if you use the acronym God's Good Orderly Direction, or you want to call it GUS, Great Universal Spirit. But what I do know is I encourage you to seek relationship with a higher power. And that's what Jay would ask you. His writing. I believe in an intensely powerful, infinitely infinite, awesomely creative, and supremely intelligent Creator, of which we can be nothing other than a part of. And I believe God unconditionally loves all the parts of Himself. That's awesome, people. You're not going to find that in a book in the library. And that's a shame. Because it needs to be. What a writer. But what an energy. What an ability to look at how the presence of God moves in our lives. There's a power in speaking aloud. There's a power in holding those things close to our heart and affirming that we are never outside God's presence. God is love and wisdom. We are much like the wave in the ocean. Could never be separated. Not one, not two. Together. As we go about our daily living, as we approach new opportunities, be secure in the understanding that you are not alone. Be secure in the belief that Jay is where he needs to be. He is in the bosom of his God. And his God has wrapped his loving arms around him. Breathe a prayer of thanks. Keep your steps steady. Know that God keeps us safe at all times. I think we've got some individuals that would like to share.
I'm Dana, I'm an addict. Also, Jay's friend, Alicia's friend. I'm a listener of Pink Floyd. I have on special earrings because Jay liked it when women dress like women. I thought, as many times as I've spoken in rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I should be able to just get up here and, But here's the deal. I've cried so many times trying to think about what I was going to say, and then I realized I'm going to have to put this on paper because there's part of it that I have to say that's verbatim from J. Paul. J. Paul Duffy went by a lot of names. Lots of them. And Alicia had a few more for him. But he was Paul, he was Johnny Cougar, he was Adam. I called him Jay, I called him J. Paul. There's one with an A that I've called him. There's also he used to have an email address with Aaron on it. E-R-R. He's got all kinds of names, but he's always the same person. And if you look on his Facebook, and I challenge you to do so, scroll back. You can find and learn exactly what RJ valued and what he believed. But he also identifies himself as, hold the children's ears, I'm the fast parking working motherfucker on the double-fisted piston popping throttle hammer. That is Jay Duffy. As you heard in his eloquent obituary, Jay was an artist. Actual art that you see, these banners behind me, those last two, Together We Can was his home group. Man Up was his most recent banner, and those are 10 years apart. But he still called Together We Can his home group. And I've got it in the wood frames. One has fallen and broken. Remember, which one was it? I don't know. You can't tell. But, you know, he came, he picked it up like a small child, took it home, and came back, and it's perfect. I was looking back on my text messages. We had texted a lot while Dorsey was in the hospital, and he said to me, he said, now that veterans group, are they going to need a banner that I need to paint? You know, because Man Up had folded. Well, I challenge every man in Narcotics Anonymous that's sitting in this room needs to get that meeting going again. I've got a whole cabinet of Man Up stuff in there.
Yeah, you do.
In his obituary, I gotta say, Alicia, either she really talks this way or she used a thesaurus. But when I had to look up words, and I've got 2 college degrees. That don't mean I know how to speak correctly, and I'll probably cuss. But I had to look at the word loquacious. Loquacious. Is it loquacious? And I realized that I'm opposite of Jay because he was not very loquacious, and I am. It means tending to talk a great deal. I should get a t-shirt with that on it. I became Jay's sponsor in Narcotics Anonymous in the summer of 2017. I'm the only woman sponsor that he had. I just want you to know, I don't have on my glasses, so I printed this big. But for you, my dear, your copy's 2 pages. Okay. Only women sponsor that he'd ever had, depending on the gender of his God. He wasn't all about this gender changing stuff. He was like, you are who you are. Confident. I was his confidant. And he told me just about everything. And then he sent me a story of his life, which, you know, I don't think I've yet to even finish. It should be a book. I had to look up words that he used on a daily. 6 years ago this month, Jay shared with me a very brief autobiography. I have all my sponsees do that. Ask them. In his words, he said, I'm a Libra, an introvert, an artistic personality, a realist, visionary, neither pessimistic nor optimistic. The glass is neither half full nor half empty. The glass and the water are whatever I want them to be at the moment, yet governed by the laws of physics. My overall underlying spirit is intensely observational and creative. Well, there you have it. Straight from J. Paul Duffy. That's who he is. And that's what we'll always know. He was a deep sucker, y'all. Once again, read his face. You can leave that up for as long as you can. I feel so fortunate to have been one of the many that he loved and trusted. And I'm so glad that Alicia decided that she wanted to have the celebration in this place. Jay always supported Friends of Recovery Foundation, and he was a real friend of recovery. Every recovery central that existed, from Young Road in Crystal Hill to Maumelle, to Ninth Street, to 7th and Jones. I remember calling Jay when we were moving into 7th and Jones, and I said, Jay, do you think you could come and hang these mirrors in the bathroom? He said, probably with my hands tied behind my back. And the mirrors were up. And they never fell down. I bet they're still hanging when they tore the building down. And then to this building, where we have 20 NA meetings a week, and now an R&Non meeting once a week. He always sat in the same place. Jerry, right where you're That's where Jay sits. And I'm sure he's glad you're sitting. Up against that brick wall. Didn't matter how hot them bricks were, that's where Jay was going to sit. In his words, my home group is Narcotics Anonymous, and together we can. I currently, this time in 17, I currently have accrued over 30 days clean. Yeah, this program has allowed me to live a total of 16 years clean, and the 12 steps have saved my life. Now, that was 6 years ago. And I know he struggled staying clean over the last 5 years, but you know, he was putting together 6 and 9 months clean pretty routinely before he would have a little interspersed slip of the favorite legal liquid, alcohol. But I know this because he shared this with me on my text in May, that I said, so how's your recovery going? He said, all fair. I said, are you not having any more lapses? He said, fuck no, that shit's killing me. When Alicia contacted me about what had happened and he was clear-headed, not under any influence of any drug or alcohol, I was so proud of him. He was following his dream. He was going to fix up his mama's place, sell it, finally fix up and sell y'all's place, and then y'all were going to move to Georgia and be near his daddy. Even more, I was impressed with his compassion and genuine care for that boy that was on the ATV behind him. And he told him when he saw what was happening and the brakes failed to hold on to me tight. And he compassion and the genuine care, he threw up his arms and he protected that boy when he took the final blow. And his words to that young boy before he passed out was, call 911 and call your mama. And I believe those were the last words he ever said, as his injuries literally took him away. His body didn't die that afternoon. She got a hold of me at the Central Arkansas Convention of Narcotics Anonymous, and we had multiple moments of silence for Jay, hoping that somehow this creative soul could turn this shit around. And his close friends, like Hollis, he just hug you and shake his head. Rob went to see him. He came back, he said, and you told me he would make it. That young man that was behind Jay on that ATV, on that four-wheeler, he walked away unharmed because Jay, Paul, Anderson, Adam, Johnny Cougar, Duffy protected him and took the final blow. And oh, how he loved Alicia. In his writings, he met her in the rooms of NA. Many have met their women in the rooms of NA. And he knew automatically and immediately that she was the love of his life. Over the past 28 years, he learned how strong she is. He learned he could not control her. Or her spending. But he knew Alicia could easily hold her own and has endured so much loss with her mom and her son. But he never wanted to leave you, sugar. She's the only person I've ever married twice. She's my 3 and 7 and things and stuff. I know he's skipping on streets of gold. If Jay skips, I don't know, I'm going to doubt it. He probably has a special motorcycle. But I know he's affirming everything that he thought about his creator. Because he was pretty sure he was right. He's singing his God's praises, and Alicia, he's singing your praises about how smart and patient you've been with him, to your mom and with your son. He knows all the answers now. He knows in a blink of an eye for him, and although it'll be years and years for you, you two will be together again in your family mansion that J. Paul has probably volunteered to Jesus to help prepare for you. I joined some pretty incredible men that got the joy of sponsoring Jay. Joy is a special word in this sentence because sometimes it was a trip. But I think I learned more from him, and I sure learned more vocabulary than I ever was able to give to him. I was just the listener. There are two of his former sponsors that were waiting on him Sunday that have already passed over. Sandy Sanders and Kurt Werner, I can just see them. Come on, boy. Others include Mike F., who was here earlier, and two men that you'll hear from today, his current sponsor, Rob, and his sponsor and friend from back in the day, Kelly M. As Jay would always say to me, and evidenced by every text he's ever written me, love yous. What a man. What a human. What a wild and crazy guy. I'm honored to have gotten to speak about my friend J. Paul. And now Kelly's going to share. Thank you.
Hi, Kelly, I'm Manny.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly, y'all. Well, it's nice that we're able to gather here. The circumstances are probably.
Louder.
Yeah, yes, we do. Yeah, the circumstances could be better than why we're here, but we're still good because we're here to celebrate somebody's life, to help support each other during this time too. That's difficulties. I don't do public speaking very well, but I couldn't say no. And I wouldn't want to say no. I met Jade 30 years ago when I first got clean, and I met Alicia too. And it's funny because they're both my friends before they even got together. So I found myself sometimes in the midst of their disagreements. And, you know, I mean, everybody has them, or else somebody's lying. Because no two people think or act the same. It's just not going to happen. But it reminds me of what she reminded me of the other day when we talked on the phone about, we were at a camp out, and it was freezing. And, I was in the back of my truck because I wasn't prepared to camp. I was going to go home, but it was so late. It was camp time. I just got my sleeping bag, got back in my truck. I hear the tailgate drop down, and Lisa's standing there and saying, "Get in this tent." And I think Jay sent her down too, because he said, "Get in there, big boy." They made me sleep in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like a furnace, and so I realized that it was kind of like a two-way thing. And they did too. But sometime during the night, Jay rolled over, and I think he thought I was leaking. And luckily, it didn't really go very far. It was just like a comfortable spoon. And he was so, I knew he was enjoying his sleep because he was snoring, and I didn't want to wake him up. Sometimes we have to be tolerant. And then I caught myself almost enjoying it. Because I felt safe and secure with my two friends. I knew that one of them had my back and the other one got at least one of them. But most of the time, both of them did. And I'll never forget that. Nobody's ever done anything like that for me. And nobody probably ever will. Especially in Arizona. Anyway, it was just kind of a funny thing, but it just showed, you know, he was always thinking of other people when he thought about me being down there cold.
was pretty awesome. And then the last thing that the time we spent together, my mom had, she had asked me if I could repair our stairs on our deck made out of wood. Of course, no, Jay came to mind. And I said, my mom's looking for somebody. She wants to pay him. Of course, she wanted to meet him too. That went over real well. My mom loved him. So they came to an agreement on the cost, and then she said she would buy all the supplies. I told him I did, because I wanted to learn. You know, Jay was a teacher. He taught me everything. I could build them now, because he taught me. And I remember one time, it's burned in my brain when he looked over his shoulder. He said, "You paying attention?" Because he was measuring the degrees that the cuts need to be at and everything, because they were different. There weren't any blueprints. We just had to measure everything out, what was existing, what was rotting, and was made new again. What really got me was after we were through, he wanted to pay me and he wouldn't take no for an answer. He said, "You help me and I'm going to pay you." And I just, because I wasn't expecting it. I really didn't want to take it. I just wanted to learn. There's just so many things that over the years that I couldn't even begin to touch on all of them, man. But what a guy, he's kind of convinced. I really will.
Thanks, Jay.
He's Rob, I'm an addict.
Hey, Rob.
I'm not good at public speaking either, even though I like to talk a lot. But I didn't know what to say. I mean, I've really got a piece of paper out and started trying to write some shit down. Can't do it. And the reason why is the only thing that keeps coming to mind is the fact that if Jay was telling this story, how it would go. Because see, that's what Jay did, is that he would tell me a story. He'd tell me a story about how his mom, but see, he had to go back and it would take him like, we're not talking about a day, okay? We're talking about intricate detail. He wanted to make sure that you understood the emotion and the decisions that were behind it, like how what really transpired with his mom and how she got to that point, and how they lost that, you know, and after where she lost her life. Every bit of it, you know, and all the details. I mean, like a picture. Well, that same story could be for Jay. I was thinking of that. It's the same. It was like, wow, Jay could have wrote this better. But I met him here at our Recovery Central, and we went outside and we were talking, and he was talking about recovery one night, and him and Alicia was here with him. And I remember sitting on that wall, I was talking. And right off the top, he started talking, and I think I showed him a pen. And he, I don't know, right off the top, we hit each other. We got along. We had the same things in common. We liked the exact same music. We liked the same, everything we liked. We liked the same things. And so he started calling me, and then next thing you know is I started getting these texts. Anybody knows Jay, if you got some texts from Jay, they were a fucking book.
Yeah.
About his belief in step one, which I wasn't his sponsor, because Dana was his sponsor, and he was pissed at her, so he wasn't talking to her. He was bitching at me about Dana because she was getting involved in his relationship. She needed to fucking keep her nose out of her business. That's Jay, right? That's exactly. I mean, so he kept talking to me, and eventually, anybody know Jay, he kept relapsing. You know, the deal is that there's some men in my life that I've known for 30 years that are just like Jay. They keep relapsing. You know, and they're like my brothers. And I met them in recovery. And it's funny, every one of them has the same thing in common. That same story that I've heard since the day I got in recovery. Well, you know what? She loves him so much, it seemed like he'd stop. He's got so much talent. How could he have that much talent and him just fuck his life up like that? How could, on and on and on. The disease of addiction don't give a fuck. And we all know that. You know, we're looking for testaments to that. But every, you know, so all these guys that are in my life that, you know, it's kind of crazy today because all of them are clean right now. But I've known these men for 30 years. Jay was just like that. So we got, I mean, boom, right off. And he asked me to be a sponsor. And when he asked me to be a sponsor, I was like, at the time, the shit that he was bitching about his wife with, no, I love you. I was bitching about Jessica about, you know? And it was kind of funny. I was like, 2 sick, you don't make a well. And I told him that, and I said, I tell you what, we'll work the steps. You want to work the steps, we'll work the steps. And I don't know how long Jay stayed clean that time, but he stayed clean for a while. And he started going back and forth, and I'd get a book almost every night. You know, that's the point. That the deal was is that you didn't realize that Dana would give you that. Thank you to that, because I'm the guy that he told the story to about how he came up with that. It only took him probably 2 months to make sure I understood every detail and every emotion. So I've got a lot of stories that I can't remember. I just can't put them together. I asked him to go to work with me one time. I'm going to cut a tree. You know, it's probably the biggest white oak I ever took down. It really, literally, probably took us a week, maybe a week and a half, to take this piecemeal, this tree out over 3 houses and power lines and everything else. And he gave me a nickname, Honey Badger. He says, "You're a little fucking honey badger." I can't believe he can climb that tree like that. He just blew him away. And anyway, so I mean, there's those moments of that time, and you really get to know somebody when you get to work together. You know, I've seen his, I got to see his shadow boxes. I got to see him draw. Yeah. I got to witness those things in his life, and he got to witness things in my life. You know, like I'll keep saying, he was a good guy. How about this? He was somebody that I could sit there and talk to about how I truly felt about how it was to take a kid that had also high functioning Asperger's and get him through college and tell him how that felt as a person at a deeper level. I wasn't the guy to be able to do that. I was able to share with him those kind of things in an intimate way because Jay understood. Because when I go to talk to somebody, a lot of times they're like, yeah, whatever. And you can tell they're disconnected from your accomplishments, but he was there because he was there himself. The other thing is, how about when me and Jessica separated? Boom, he was there. I got COVID. I was stuck in the apartment complex. There was nobody around. I mean, literally, I had no family here. And I told Jessica at that time to stay the fuck away from me because I was just really done with her. And I was stuck in this, and I was sick, and I couldn't get off the couch, and I really should have gone to the hospital. And instead, Jay came and brought me. He brought me stuff out the door, opened the door up, he's standing down the hall. "You okay?" "I just want to make sure you're alive before I leave." "All right." I mean, I was deadly sick, guys. But anyway, it goes on and on. I mean, just on and on like that. The last time I physically saw Jay was, it'd been a few months ago. I mean, I know he was sober. We were talking. He said sober. I saw sober. He goes, the last time we talked discussed the fact that he was going to drink or not, he goes, "I don't know what happened, Rob. I'm just done. Just done." I'm like, "Okay, you're done. You know, I'm gonna do something different." I said, "Do something different. What you've been doing ain't been working." He goes, "I'm just gonna fix my place up." Oh, that's what it was. I'll just tell you about that, and I'll talk about this. But I went to, I was going on a trip, and I needed my bike taken out to the DMT, and he came over, and he was helping me load my bike, and I looked at him, and I said, "Jay, get on that bike and ride it." And he looked at me and goes, "You're not learning to ride your bike." I said, "Ride the bike. You haven't been on a bike. Maybe that'll help you fix your bike." And he got on and rode around the parking lot and he stole it. And other than that, the other thing I can think of is me going out with him to his mom's house. When she passed away, they found her. She'd been out there, I don't know how many days, weeks. And he'd asked me to go with him. Nobody he'd been out there. And I went out to that place and we started opening it up and see that story that he'd been trying to tell me about his mom. At that very moment, all of it came together. Just like that picture that he'd been trying to describe to me because of how she lived. And seeing that place out there and how much work he had to do and how much he was going to take and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't know. I just don't know what else to say. He was my friend. And that was his. And I know he loved you. That's it.
Thanks, Rob.
My name's Dustin. Right, wise ass. I knew Johnny Cougar. I knew him as a husband, a father, a friend. I knew him as a brother. These are all the titles that Cougar held dear to his heart, and with high regard and respect. He didn't put me in stock in titles of position, but these titles he worked every day to be worthy of, and he wore them proud. I've known Cougar for the past 10 years. We met in a motorcycle club, and he quickly began to educate me on the intricacies and mysteries from the mind of Paul Duffy. Anything from the communist control of government, the misuse of modern religion, psychology, and most importantly, the taxation is theft. Cougar loved his freedom to roam, his freedom to travel, most importantly, his freedom to think. He had an amazing and beautiful mind that to some may have seemed strange, especially at 4 a.m., while he continued to message about the multifaceted issues and whatever subject had him head diving that night. Be it politics, bikes, government, religion, or general sociopathic habits of others. It's that love of freedom that I saw in him as a brother. On his motorcycle, he truly loved rolling and riding. On his motorcycle, he truly loved riding and rolling thunder as a pack. He was an incredible brother, patch or no patch. He was always there to lend an ear to a problem or a hand to a project. I knew Cougar as a brother, a friend, and a teacher. He taught me many things like woodworking and how to measure and account for the small things that make the difference in a project, turning out good or great. It was that same mentality of doing the little things that taught me how to be a better person. I feel it was one of his many simple truths.
First, I just want to ask that everyone is patient with me. I have several things to touch on. I'm here on behalf of myself and my mother and my family. Well, we all know he had many names, but since I was 7 years old, I've lovingly known him as Jay. My rock star stepdad, who, without him, I would never be able to jam out to the music that I hold really dear to my heart today. I really want to touch on his recovery because he spent years recovered, and I don't want that forgotten. I also want everyone here to know how incredibly comforting it is to know that he had so many people that loved him. He truly didn't believe that, I don't think. And now I'm going to fiddle through my phone so I can find what I need to say. Can you just give me a moment? Anyone that has been really close to my family knows, especially not only with my mother, but with me, Jay and I had our arguments. And he was an asshole sometimes, and I could be a bitch right back. But we always loved each other, and our unwavering understanding of the universe, music, and love is something I'll always hold dear to my heart. He would write me books of messages, always decoding things in life I was going through. And oh, the music, how we shared a passion for it. With every song exchanged, we spoke to each other. I came out to my family a few years back, and out of everybody, I think Jay was the most understanding person. and really supported me in that decision to be who I truly wanted to be, and I'm forever grateful. In late 2021, I had a surgery that left me hemorrhaged and on my deathbed. And what most of you don't know is that during that time, I was able to really break down barriers that Jay and I had for many years. We both accepted fault and wanted a better outcome for the future. As he said, I always wanted you to be my daughter. You were my beautiful baby. And I took for granted his wisdom and intellect. I too got messages in the middle of the night that I skimmed past. I said, I'll look at that tomorrow. Sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't. I truly learned so much from this man, and not in a tangible sense. He did never teach me to do any woodwork, as you know, that was not really my forte. But something much more profound. It was in his words that he would shape intricate, beautiful images in my mind. The universe, the gods, and society. And while my mom didn't always agree with our beliefs, she sure did have fun listening to it. We talked about it all. And now I'll never have those beautiful poetic messages sent to me anymore. And as much as I share a love for writing, I could never weave words in the way that he could. And I've really been struggling about getting up here. I had decided I was going to sit down and I was going to write and I was going to try to make it this beautiful thing. But honestly, we all know that not many people could meet him where he was. He was a constant in my life, no matter the situation. And my fondest memories are riding in the back of his S10, down the back roads of Cabot, blaring Metallica, and saying, fuck society. He always supported me in my weirdo little phases, and he always told me how beautiful I was, and he always complimented my outfits. And so today I wore exactly what he would fucking want me to rock. This is one of his band tees, and my children are wearing them as well. Something I hold really dear to my heart that I always told him, when you die, those are mine. He'd just look at me and laugh. I'd like to read something that Jay sent me. I've scoured through tons of messages, but this was after I hemorrhaged, and he was really trying to give me some uplifting. I had kind of lost my identity because I wasn't able to work at the time. And he said, don't give up. Look towards spring and everything blooming. It'll be the most blossoming thing you've ever seen. The hills will fall alive with glory, and you should fish and paint your nails. Flush and bright, open this great eyelid and go about. These wee tea months, sultry and deep, but wait, watch as the gray casts away and reverberant echoes come from the mountains around you. The whole summer land springs around you. I hope that those words, while not only just comforting to me, can be comforting to those that loved him. Those that showed up and supported him when he needed them the most. And now, on behalf of my mother, I would like to read something. First of all, my mom would like to thank you all for being here today. She would like to say a very special thanks to her brother Tommy and his wife Tina, Felicia and Jean Correa, Raven Hosley, her father, her Aunt Kathy and Tricia, Heather Powers, Deborah Marino, Charlotte Wright, Dana Beggs, Lisa, John House, this is going to be a long list, y'all. Jordan Tedder, John and Tiffany Buzzard, Renee Rose, Michelle Lynn, Brian Davis, and Terry Burris, and a host of others that sent prayers. I'd like to read something that she wrote for Jay. My husband and I shared a journey that encompassed both trials and triumphs. We experienced the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, yet throughout it all, we remained steadfastly united. Our bond was something truly unique, a connection that went beyond comprehension. We were not only soulmates, also the best of friends. In the face of immense loss, particularly the passing of our son Dylan, my husband was my unwavering support, my rock. I have no doubt that he knew the extent of my love for him.
We'd like to open the room for anyone who wants to speak about Jay or has a fond memory.
I don't know if I could do this, but my name is Kenny. I'm a definitely addict.
Okay.
Try. Just lost for words, man. That's my friend. Him and his wife come into the house. I work with him. I had a customer need some carpenter work done. I called Jay. He showed up. But I don't think nobody in here could explain Jay's deepness. This guy is so deep, man. His words, man, his wisdom is like mind blowing. He'll have, like, you'll be in a conversation with him, he would like start, and you'd be like, have to shut up because, all right, Jay. Like, it's so deep and it'll make you like think in many nights, man. He's standing, he's going, he's standing, he's going. But whenever he comes, he spend hours outside. Just me here, the meeting over, everybody gone, but Jay's still out there. A lot of times, man. I always had a listening ear for him, and he always had a listening ear for me. And, talented, that's an understatement. Yeah. He put his love in everything, and the way he left us is who he is. He's a giver. He's a protector. That would be really special to give like Jay. Dude is powerful. I'm talking powerful. His words, man. We was in the same home group together, we can. I'm from Louisiana, but I've been here about 13 years, but when we shared in the meeting, and no matter what it's a home group meeting, whatever, just Jay words, man, about whatever subject you talk about is so deep. You know, I love him. Yeah. Because I'm gonna give it like Jay. I don't pray behind the human. I don't say addict. I say I don't play behind you. You cross my path. I don't play behind you. I'm coming. So whatever you guys need, this and there, whatever, I'm here. I love you guys. And I had two things. Let me say this before I go. So 2 things was at 2 o'clock for me today. This one, and I'm invited to Brian to an outing, right? Dana wouldn't let me miss this. My phone over there. Jana put, so I say, Dana, I don't know, I'm gonna try to make it, but I can, I'm gonna come for a little while, but I have to go because I'm invited to something else. I'll stay for a little bit though. And Dana told me that when I pass, don't you come for a little while or something like that.
You better come out and stay late or I'll hunt your ass.
So I'm on my way here, and I said, I'll tell Dana to keep coming back, right? When I see her, right? But I voice text while I was driving. I said, Dana, they told me to tell you that the world doesn't revolves around you, whether you're dead or alive. But anyway, man, I'm just glad to be here to say something about Jay. Do this to bomb, I'm telling you. And as long as I'm alive, I'm gonna do what Jay did. I'm gonna keep doing what Jay did. I'll give my life for another human being like Jay did. I don't play behind humans. Thanks for letting me be here.
Thanks, Andy. I said it's gonna have to be louder than that, listen.
Oh, no, I'm just looking around the room. There's a lot of you that I don't know, and you don't know me. There's a few of you that have known me for some time. Alicia's one. Christina. I said to John, I need to get up there because I'm talking. But I needed to let y'all know something that I know. I was Alicia's sponsor when she first came around the news. And I tried very much to protect her from predators. And so when her and Jay kind of got together, I kind of really got onto Jay. But you know, I think I backed off because I saw something there. That was over there on the Unity Church. Remember those days? Or nights, just. There was a time when, I don't know if any of y'all know this, but Jay severed most of his fingers. I think it was like 4 of them, if I'm not mistaken. Is it all 4?
Yes, 4.
Yeah, it's all 4. With his woodworking or at work or something. And they were able to reconnect his fingers. And he was able, after a long time, with an external cast of sorts, he was able to use that hand again. I too had many nights talking with Jay about all sorts of esoterical stuff. You know, and, about who and what is God, what our beliefs were. And this is what I really felt a need to come up here and say something to my husband's and it was just a couple of weeks ago that I had a memory. And that memory was Jay and I getting into long threaded discussions on Facebook. And I thought about that just the other day, that day. And I find it so definitely God deal that came to mind. I love you, dear. I love you. And I always carry that spirit in my heart. Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm Lynn and I'm an addict. Jay was my best male friend, and it didn't matter if it's been a day or 5 years or 10 years or whatever. He still loved me and he still cared about me. And without Jay, I wouldn't be here clean today. He took me in and he made me have a safe place. And he made sure that I was safe and thus clean. And he always cared. He actually cared whether or not I was clean or not. And it meant so much to me because no one else really took the time to make sure I was safe. They prayed for me or they spoke for me, but they never made me safe. And Jay did. And I will always remember him for that.
Thank you.
There's no doubt that Jay understood life. That Jay understood that life was about love. He embraced, he engaged. He was a giver. He did what was asked. He loved his neighbor. At this point, I want to do a committal reading. Eternal God, you have shared with us the life of Jay. Before he was ours, he was yours. For all that Jay has given us to make us what we are, for that of him which lives and grows in each of us, and for his life that in your love will never end, we give you thanks. As now we offer J. Paul back into your arms, comfort us in our loneliness, strengthen us in our weakness, give us courage to face the future unafraid. Draw those of us who remain in this life closer to one another. Make us faithful to serve one another. And give us to know that peace and joy, which is eternal life, through the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Jay, we commit your spirit to the hands of God. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God embraces you. You are with God always. Would like to thank everyone who came to show support to the family, to recognize the love and life of J. Paul Duffy. And we will close with the serenity prayer. God, grant us serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know